statistically from our folks at CompuBox who fuel the show stats that you see on the broadcast. David Benavidez is number one in this entire game in terms of percentage of total punches landed. 38% of the punches David Benavidez throws are landing. But most importantly, Luke, even though that's his calling card, if you will, the pressure that David Benavidez puts on, it's that improvement of his defense. And I know that's something that you've been watching closely as he's been fighting the guys he's needed to try to get back into title contention. When David Benavidez first came on the scene, think 2015, 2016, he was allowing his opponents to land almost half of their attempted shots. That number, as he has stepped up in class, fighting the likes of Anthony Durrell, a former champion, fighting the bigger names, man, that defensive statistic has come down in a much more favorable area, 20 to 30% of opponents' total punches landed. So Luke Thomas, he's getting busier and more dangerous, but he's also getting more responsible. How does anyone, let alone David Lemieux, deal with this type of size, pressure, and really, attention to detail in terms of coming in there to take you out?
I mean, listen, David Lemieux is going to have a hard time fighting if he's at the end of the reach of someone like David Benavidez. I mean, you're talking about the defensive statistics. Partly this is a function of just how fighters develop. Usually their offense gets better before their defense. But as you pointed out, 25 years old, this guy he's not even close to his prime yet, right? So some of these things that you think about his game, they're very much still in development. He's not a finished product, whereas Lemieux, obviously at 33, is certainly much more along those lines. But for Lemieux, this is a really, I'm not going to say an easy game plan because fighting David Benavidez is not easy, but it's pretty simple in the sense that if you are at the end of his range, and the big difference here to me in David Benavidez's ability to not take as much punishment is his impeccable distance and range management. Yes, he can slip and block all those things, but he has to do them a lot less, or he can coordinate them much better when he has a better understanding of the distance and range. So for Lemieux, this is about, I think, a little bit of pressure. This is about getting inside of that range. This is the point that you raised with the previous question about what kind of fight this is going to be. Is it going to be all action? It has to be, because either Lemieux is going to be at the end of that range or he's going to be inside of it. And now Benavidez has to worry about a different kind of fight with a different kind of space. Either way, it's action-oriented.
Well, both fighters have promised a war. Yes, they're using that word. And Benavidez has promised a knockout. He says he's not going to rush it, but he expects it to happen. Look, reading the comments from his father and trainer, Jose Benavidez Sr., to your earlier point, Luke, they think he's 2.5 to 3 years out, meaning David Benavidez, from really entering that prime and learning how to put the entire game together, which is a scary notion. But this is sort of the right test at the right time, and somebody who has a name and somebody who has legitimate danger in David Lemieux. And I don't think it could be overstated, although, look, there's a watered down period for boxing world titles. It's a proliferated period at this point. No one's going to dispute that, right? But yet the winner of this getting that interim title, that's the thing, a world title that's held David Benavidez back, in my opinion, in the last 2 years from getting the big fights he wants. If he, or Lemieux for that sake, ends up winning this title, you talk about the type of fights you can get. Yes, that's the kind of, bait you can put on your hook to draw the biggest fish of all, potentially in Canelo. But don't forget, former champion Caleb Plant looking to make a comeback this year. Don't forget Jermall Charlo, the WBC middleweight champion, who just announced his intention to move up to 168. You're going to have big opportunities at stake here for the winner of this one. The odds makers like David Benavidez, but what I love about Benavidez's comments this week is he says, look, Lemieux is as dangerous or more than any fighter I've ever faced. I am not taking him lightly. I'm ready to go in there and mix it up, but I know what's coming at me. And if you know David Lemieux's history, it's going to be that big left hook. He's going to give himself a puncher's chance to come out of here with a victory. Fired up for this triple header as things go down Saturday night inside the desert. That's a 10 p.m. Eastern start on Showtime. And when you look at what's up and down this card, also good-looking prospect in the co-main event battle as Yoelvis Gomez takes on Jorge Kota, a respected title challenger at 154 pounds. And don't forget about Luis the Twist Nunez, who's going to kick off that opening bout, just fresh off his Showtime main event victory and breakthrough sort of performance. So a lot to look forward to come Saturday night. Luke Thomas, any final thoughts here of what to look for as a fan as we are moments away from them stepping on the scale? We know, as we sort of established, that Benavidez will be the taller and longer fighter. We saw that at the press conference this week. But would you advise anyone to get up and go to the fridge at all early in this fight, or that's not the
Yeah, definitely that. But for me, this is something like the David Benavidez show, which isn't to say Lemieux can't win, but what I mean to say is when you're 25 years old and you're as good as David Benavidez is, every time you see him, if he's as good, if he's as good as we think he is and how good he says he is, he should have something new every time, right? This is the part of his development where the game comes to him very quickly. So what I'm looking for is not just this all-action affair that we had talked about. I want to see a couple of new twists, a couple of new wrinkles in the game of Benavidez, because if he can show us that, then what he's showing us is by the time he's 28, 29, he is going to be an absolute handful if he isn't already.
All right, we can only wait and see what happens. The next step, though, before these two touch gloves Saturday night is making the weight on the scale. So let's head on over to Glendale, Arizona, the backdrop, the hometown of all things David Benavidez, as Benavidez and David Lemieux head onto the scales, and we throw it over to our Showtime team. Welcome, everyone. We are here outside Gila River Arena in Glendale, Arizona, as Premier Boxing Champions presents our official weigh-in for tomorrow's exciting night of boxing. It is all brought to you by TGB Promotions, Samson Boxing, and Showtime. And we go live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night at Gila River Arena, live on Showtime. We will get things going with 10 rounds in the featherweight division. It is a battle of unbeaten fighters. First up to the stage, out of the red corner with 13 victories, including 12 by knockout, no defeats, representing Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Here is Jonathan Diamante Zurdo Fierro. And now we welcome his opponent, who is also undefeated, 16 victories, 12 by knockout, no defeats, representing Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Here is Luis "The Twist" Nunez. Jonathan. 125.6, 125.6 for Fierro. And now we welcome his opponent to the scale once again. Here is the undefeated Luis "The Twist" Nunez. $126 even for Nunez. This is our opening bout live on Showtime tomorrow night. 10 rounds in the featherweight division. A battle of undefeated fighters. Jonathan Diamante Zurdo Fierro taking on Luis "The Twist" Nunez.
And now we continue on with our official weigh-in. This time we go to our co-main event live on Showtime. 10 rounds in the super welterweight division. First up to the stage with 30 victories, 27 by knockout, opposite of 5 defeats. Out of Los Mochis, Sinaloa, Mexico, here is the very tough veteran Jorge Demonio Kota. And now we welcome his opponent. He is undefeated, 5 victories, all 5 victories coming by way of knockout. Representing Havana, Cuba, here is the young and dynamic Yoelvis La Hoya Gomez. And now we welcome his opponent first to step onto the scale. Once again, Jorge Kota. $156.4, 156.4 for Kota. And now we welcome once again the very powerful, the rising star, Yoelvis La Hoya Gomez. $156.6, 156.6 for Gomez. Our co-main event live on Showtime. 10 rounds in the super welterweight division. Once again, Jorge Demonio Kota taking on Yoelvis La Hoya Gomez. And now Premier Boxing Champions presents our official weigh-in for our main event tomorrow night live on Showtime. Once again, it is all brought to you by TGB Promotions, Samson Boxing, and Showtime. And it will be 12 rounds for the interim WBC Super Middleweight Championship. First coming to the stage with 43 victories, 36 by knockout, opposite of 4 defeats, representing Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the former middleweight champion and the number 2 WBC Super Middleweight, David Lemieux. And now his opponent, undefeated, 25 victories, 22 by knockout. here in his hometown, Phoenix, Arizona. He is unbeaten, the former two-time super middleweight champion and the #1 ranked WBC super middleweight contender, El Bandera Roja, David Benavidez. And now first up onto the scale, once again, we welcome the #2 WBC super middleweight, David Lemieux. $166.2 for the former middleweight champion, David Lemieux. And now we welcome his opponent, once again, the former two-time super middleweight champion, El Bandera Roja, David Benavidez. 166.4 for Benavidez. This is our main event tomorrow night live on Showtime from Gila River Arena. 12 rounds, interim WBC Super Middleweight Championship. David Lemieux taking on El Bandera Roja, David Benavidez. David. We're gonna ask you a question. David, first we're going to start with David Lemieux. David, you are in enemy territory. This is your opportunity. You're one step away from being the interim champion. A fight with Canelo looms above. How tough is this opponent in David Benavidez, and what do you need to do to come out victorious tomorrow?
I'm extremely happy to be in Phoenix right now and to be a main event in this fight and to fight in front of all the people in front of here. I'm here to give the fans a great fight, a great show, and you know, Benavidez is a hell of a fighter, but I'm here to take that belt away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is David Lemieux. We look forward to tomorrow. Now we'll go to his opponent. Once again, David Benavidez. This is the back-to-back fights here in front of your hometown crowd. What does it mean to you to fight in front of your fans?
I'm just excited to be here in front of all my fans, all the people that support me. You know, this fight is definitely going to be for the fans. This fight's not going to go to distance either. There's going to be a knockout, and I'm going to walk away with that title again.
Now, there's been a lot of talk of you fighting numerous guys, but obviously this is where you wanted to be back. You're an interim belt. This would put you in line for a shot to regain the belt that you never were defeated of. That WBC champion that is held by Canelo Alvarez. How important is this fight for you, and what do you need to do tomorrow night to come out victorious?
Yeah, I put everything into this training camp, but I only take it one fight at a time. My mind and my focus is on 100% on David Lemieux, so we're just going to go in there, take care of this fight, and then we'll see what comes after.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is once again El Bandera Roja, David Benavidez.
Welcome to the Valley of the Sun. Saturday, May 21st, it will be a triple header. Jonathan Fierro taking on Luis Nunez. Jorge Kota, he will take on a young Yoelvis Gomez. In the main event, we got two explosive punchers. David Benavidez taking on David Lemieux.
Right now, Benavidez stands in front of me, and that's who I gotta beat to be the world champion. He doesn't like to do rounds. I don't like to do rounds.
He has a lot of knockouts. I have a lot of knockouts. I really want to go in there and earn the WBC interim title. I have a lot of respect for David Lemieux. I've been watching him since I was a little kid.
Does David Lemieux still have enough left in the tank?
Yes, I do. I've been underdog in the past, and I came up with the win.
I can guarantee a hell of a fight, a war.
Copy paste what he said. I want to beat him. He wants to beat me.
Somebody's going to get knocked out.